The first UFC event of 2018 is complete, and it was a night capped off by Jeremy Stephens stopping Doo Ho Choi in the second round of their featherweight showdown. Stephens dropped the opening round, but once he started coming forward and finding his timing on the Korean Superboy, it was bad news for Choi. While Stephens hasn't had a lot of knockouts over the years, he has plenty of knockdowns and no doubt hits hard. And Choi found out when he got floored with a big right hand. Lil Heathen ended proceedings with absolutely savage ground and pound that left Keith Peterson no choice but to intervene. Stephens notches consecutive wins for the first time since taking 3 straight from 2013-2014, while the much-adored Choi has dropped consecutive bouts. And unlike his war with Cub Swanson, he was actually stopped. It was a great adjustment by Stephens in round 2, particularly his use of the jab and effective pressuring footwork, and he's still very much among the top 10 at featherweight. For Choi, who has looming military service in his home country, he's realistically nowhere near title contention, and the aforementioned military duties mean that status won't change anytime soon. More thoughts on tonight's event. Main card. FS1 pacing remains as slow as ever. 4-fight main card. 6-fight main card. It doesn't matter. It royally sucks. At least it ended an hour earlier than normal. Right. Paul Felder is a great analyst. In addition to being a damn good fighter, he's an enjoyable listen and the closest thing to Brian Stann the UFC has right now. Felder is apparently going to fight Ally Aquina at UFC 223 in April, and that should be a great contest. It was an emotional week for Jessica Rose Clark, as she had her house robbed just days ago, with her cat needing to be put down as a result of injuries from that robbery. The Australian prevailed over Paige VanZant by unanimous decision, as Paige struggled to stop the takedowns, and also suffered an apparent broken arm in round 1. Not to downplay the seriousness of the injury, especially since she gutted out those last 2 rounds and won round 3. But VanZant doesn't appear to be getting better with her fundamentals, and for someone the UFC hoped would be a big star, that's concerning. Kamaru Usman is a terrific wrestler and an absolute nightmare. A Nigerian nightmare to deal with when he's got top control. Emil Weber-Meek tried to deter Usman with elbows, but Usman was relentless and took home a unanimous decision. Usman is 7-0 in the UFC, and it's more than time for him to be given top 10 competition. Unfortunately for him, this wasn't a scintillating performance. Evidently we got Usman at 30%, so the UFC won't be too eager to give him any promotional push. Kudos to the UFC for their tribute package to legendary ex-welterweight champion Matt Hughes, who was in a near-fatal accident when his truck collided with a train last June. Hughes, sporting a Ruthless Robbie Lawler shirt, made his way towards the octagon, to the roar of the appreciative St. Louis crowd. That was a touching moment, and I highly recommend watching the full video. Darren Elkins does it again. Michael Johnson dominated him on the feet throughout round 1, but as ever, Elkins rallied and got the takedown early in round 2, eventually tapping Michael out with a rear naked choke. Johnson's featherweight debut ends in a loss, while Elkins has won 6 straight. The damage should be in line for a major opponent next, and he suggested a number 1 contender fight in the post-fight interview. The frequency in which Johnson loses fights he's winning is Melvin Gillard-esque. At 1-5 in his last 6, the wheels have really fallen off for the Ultimate Fighter 12 runner-up. Prelims.